And basically, they kind of kidnapped me, and basically I just escaped. And as I was escaping and going up what we call here Chino Ridge, I felt all the guilt ready to clamber down on me, and I just pushed it back. I said, guilt later, action now. And so then I got hooked up at my piano teacher's house to stay after they got the troopers out, and I had a psychic friend, believe it or don't. And I know what you just said about psychics, but I had a guy who told me what my parents were doing, and then they came on the radio, and that's what they were doing. But anyway, I went to Anchorage while they came to, they looked for me in Fairbanks, and I actually passed them on the road. But I finally have a moment for reflection. Okay, now let's review the guilt. And I'm sitting out under this 7-foot kind of sapling, birch sapling, and I'm on, it's called Farmer's Loop Road. I'm looking up the hill and seeing all the trees and the sunlight shining off them. And all of a sudden it's as if I'm in a crystalline sphere in which everything is light, and which light illumines everything, as if there were outside of everything I know. There's some big. Purest, most intense, beautiful. So that was that was like setting the stage. And
well, Mellon, he had a moment. I've got to move on here, Jeff. I'll let you listen here, though. He had a moment.
Oh, it's beautiful stories. He should be a writer. I really. Those. I
was going to say, let him write a chapter for you for your next work, if you ever do that.
Yeah, good job.
What happens to people, though, when they have these episodes that affect them so much individually? Now, in his case, he didn't have to die, but. If he's composing all of a sudden, and he never knew how to do that.
That is just wonderful, and I totally believe those events happen to everyone, or can happen to anyone, and they're mystical events that are just glorious when they happen. Very cool, very cool.
David in Los Angeles, you're up with us on Coast to Coast. Hello, David.
Hello, George. Hello, Mellon. I love your program always.
Thank you, David.
And I'm so glad to hear your guest tonight, Mellon. What you're having to say just confirms my experiences. As I'm waiting on a hold here, I'm thinking, and there's no less than 8 times that I have experienced dear friends or loved ones who have passed on. And this has been confirmed down to the week. I can't pinpoint a day, but down to a week when they passed on, and they visited me to say goodbye. And I've felt their presence. I've acknowledged their presence. I've communicated with them, telepathy. Is that correct? Well, whatever.
Yep. Not bad.
Yeah, very.
They always communicate a sense of love, a sense of peace, and a sense of everything is okay.
Yeah,
I know there's other dimensions, but I don't know what dimension we go to. Perhaps you can shed some light on this.
What you're experiencing is very natural and quite common. And these visitations can go on for quite a long time, even a lifetime sometimes, and can be very useful. Quite often, you can contact these spirits and ask them to help you do things, find out information for you. They can be quite the helpers to you, but it's quite normal to visit loved ones during especially during the short period right after their death. It's quite normal and actually quite common. So,
has your experience, Mellon, made you so sensitive now that can you see the dead? Can you see spirits walking around?
I can. Yeah, I'm kind of multidimensional that way. I can see them, I can hear them, I can feel them, and sometimes it's one or the other or all three. And depending on the situation, certainly, I have some friends that have passed over that are still mentors to me and advise me.
There seems to be that connection where they have to come back. I don't know why, but they do.
It's love. Love is the most magical connection in the universe.
What if they didn't love before they died? Do they change?
Yes, you can definitely change. That happened to me. It definitely can happen. Maybe it doesn't happen every time, or this time it may happen the next time, their next incarnation. But certainly, once you get that omni-view, multidimensional look at things, it's quite easy to forgive people and to experience love. Like, I never really experienced love in my life until I had my near-death experience, and I was on the other side.
And it changed you dramatically.
Dramatically. Love does that.
Let's go to Indiana. Kelly, you're on Coast to Coast. Hello, Kelly.
Hi.
Welcome.
I had to call in because he made the comment, your guest made the comment about reincarnated people and families. They usually come back in their grandchildren.
Or in some kind of form or fashion like that, yes.
Yeah. Well, I have a story to tell.
Okay.
My father, when he passed away, he was very much a believer in reincarnation and all that. And he told me on his deathbed that if his calculations were correct, he would be back in about 10 years. And, of course, I didn't really know what to think about this. I was just like, okay, you'll be back then. Well, 4 children later, 9 years and 5 months to be exact, I had my 4th child. At the age of 2.5, she climbed up on my lap and put both her hands on my face and just beamed at me and said, I used to be your father. And you used to sit on my lap just like this.
Wow.
And
she was darn serious, wasn't she?
Oh, yes. And she's 9 now, but she's been so wise her entire life. I mean, I just look at her and I think, it's got to be. You know, she has to be my father. Because
How do you feel about that, Kelly?
Blessed.
Yeah.
Blessed, because my father had made many mistakes, and he felt like he had to come back to correct them. And I'm the youngest of 7 children, and that he chose to come back to me for me to help guide him is a blessing to me. He always told me I was gifted. I've always had psychic abilities and been able to see ghosts and speak with them and stuff and have premonitions. And for him to come back to me was a great blessing to me.
That's a great story.
Great story. It just gives me goosebumps. Yeah.
Are you still coming up with inventions these days?
Oh, absolutely.
More and more?
I love inventing, and I love the flow. I invent every day, sometimes many inventions in a day, and they're all documented. But I know that in my life, probably only 2% of my inventions will ever be made into anything and do anything. But that doesn't matter to me because I love the flow. I love the experience.
And do you do it on paper, Mellon, only, or do you try to, physically make these?
Well, most everything is written down in great detail in drawings and things like that, and then the ones that I think are appropriate to put time and energy into. Because let me tell you, inventing I wouldn't recommend it for everybody.
It's not cheap.
It takes a chunk of your life with each one of these, and so you try to pick the best ones and the most likely ones to make it, and spend your time with those. And those, you go into full development of patents, prototypes, and working models, and then manufacturing is a completely different experience. I'm amazed that anything makes it to the shelf in the store. You don't know how lucky you are just to walk into a store and pick up a bottle of aspirin. You don't know the trauma that went into getting that. And then we complain about the price.
We'll be back with final phone calls in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM. On our next Coast to Coast program, Dark Force, the terrifying and tragic story of the Bean family, followed by those special open lines. Now, when we come right back, we'll take final phone calls with you and Mellon Thomas Benedict on Coast to Coast AM. And welcome back to Coast with Mellon Thomas Benedict and your final phone calls as well. Mellon, tell us, what do you do next? What's on your agenda these days?
Well, I'm continuing to invent and get my technologies out to people now, and my next round of inventions all have to do with energy devices, which the time is right.
For healing or for living?
For electricity.
Solar or?
No, I've brought in a lot of ideas for independent power production. Simple, elegant ideas that people seem to be interested in now. And I was told I'd have to wait 20, 25 years for these inventions to come out, and it's about right. Now's about the right time because everyone is very interested in this subject right now.